My husband, who can be misogynistic, always seems to look down on me as stay-at-home wife. He would threaten me with divorce the moment I try to speak up for myself.
"Try me and we're getting a divorce,"
he'd say. One day, I found out about his little secret. From that moment on, I lost all the respect I had for him, and I decided to change. I am no longer the submissive wife that he can look down on. With the divorce paper he prepared in my hands, I began my plan to get back at him. My name is Megan. I lost my father when I was in high school, and since then, it's been just me and my mother. Thanks to the money my father left us, I was able to attend an IT vocational school and somehow managed to enter the workforce. Finally, I can pay back my mother. Just when I was beginning to stand on my own feet, my mother passed away from a fatal heart attack. Left all alone in the world, my savior appeared, who is my current husband, Scott. After I started working at my current company, Scott took it upon himself to guide me, a novice in the corporate world. He was there for me when my mother died, voicing his concern for my mental health, urging me to rely on him more. From that point on, I turned to Scott not just for work-related advice, but for personal matters as well. Scott always seemed to be there, leading the way for me.
"Megan, you really can't live without me, can you?"
He would say that frequently after we officially started dating, and then he proposed.
"From now on, I'll protect you for the rest of our lives. Let's get married."
At Scott's suggestion, I quit my job after getting married to become a full-time housewife, maintaining a sweet home so my husband can go to work without worry. This became my new job. However, living up to Scott's high standards was tough, and I struggled to keep up with his expectations in household chores.
"Hey Megan, what were you doing all day?"
My husband would question, to which I would reply meekly, "I cleaned the room, did the laundry, aired out the comforter, and then I went shopping for dinner. I spent some time making beef stew. How's the taste?"
"It's okay, but did you really clean?"
"Huh? Why?"
"There's dust on this shelf."
"Oh, I must have missed the spot. I'll be more careful next time."
"If you're home all day, at least make sure the housework is done right."
I'm sorry." Scott maintained a superior-inferior dynamic, just like at work, even after our marriage. At one point, he criticized.
"Hey, what's up with this meat and potato stew?"
"Huh? Is it bad?"
"Why is there pork in a meat and potato stew? It's supposed to be beef."
"We always made it with pork in my family."
"That's because your family was poor and could only afford pork, right? Are you saying my salary is not enough?"
"That's not what I meant." Scott would severely scold me if anything didn't go his way, and often belittled me for being a child from a single-parent family without common sense. He started spending his weekends out alone. "Hey Scott, where do you go every weekend?" One day when I asked him this, Scott's mood quickly soured.
"Why do I need to report my whereabouts to you?"
"It's not a report. I just wish we could spend more time together as a couple on weekends."
"You have all day, every day to rest at home while I work tirelessly. Let me spend my days off the way I want."
"I'm not asking you to take me anywhere. I just want us to spend some quiet time together."
"That's exactly what I can't stand. I married a woman with no special talents and even let her be a housewife. All you need to do is keep quiet and do housework for me."
Scott mumbled and stormed off to the bedroom. The next day, he handed me a piece of paper. It was a divorce notice, with Scott's name already filled in. What does this mean?" In shock, I quickly questioned him.
"You don't even understand what this is? Guess single mothers don't even teach their kids some basics, huh?"
"Scott, do you want to divorce me?"
"This is a warning. It's because of that insolent thing you said yesterday. If you dare to express your opinion to me like that again, I will divorce you right away."
"But why?" When he said that, I found myself unable to respond. After all, I have nowhere else to go, as I have no family to fall back on. Since then, every weekend when Scott would leave, I had no choice but to quietly see him off. One day, as I was cleaning the house as usual, I noticed that his computer was still turned on. When I looked at the screen to turn it off, a homepage of a hotel resort caught my eye. Could this possibly be a couple's trip? My mood brightened all at once. Despite all his harsh words, Scott cared about me. From that day, I put more effort into housework than usual, waiting for Scott to bring up the topic of the trip. However, no matter how long I waited, he would not mention anything about the trip. Out of curiosity, I began to check the home computer more frequently. Looking at the browsing history, it seems like Scott was still searching for hotels. I wondered if he was seriously selecting an accommodation for us. One day, while periodically checking on the computer, I noticed a completed reservation notification on a booking site. The reservation was for this upcoming weekend. Finally, he must have finished selecting a hotel for us. While anxiously waiting for Scott to invite me, it was already Friday. Unable to hold back, I asked Scott, "Scott, don't you have something to tell me?" Scott looked at me, slightly startled.
What are you talking about?
But I couldn't insist on him to talk about the trip. He became grumpy and went to sleep, and just like that, Saturday dawned. "Good morning, Scott."
What's with you? Dressed up this early in the morning?
"Oh, because..."
Never mind. I'll be leaving once I'm ready. I won't be home today.
With that, he quickly got ready and left the house. What was happening? Did he change the reservation after that? The name written in the companion section was not mine, but another woman's name. Companion Lily? 25 years old? At that moment, I understood everything. What he had been planning all along was not a trip with me, but a trip with a young mistress named Lily. In that moment, all my feelings of love, gratitude, and respect for Scott swiftly faded. I was quick to react. To confirm his affair, I headed to the hotel that Scott had booked. Upon arrival, I made sure to imprint in my mind the sight of my husband and the young woman cheerfully entering the hotel. Of course, I didn't forget to take photos for evidence. When I returned home, I thoroughly checked our computer. It took some time, but I was able to find texts exchanged between Scott and Lily, as well as photos of them together. Now I can confront him. Just you wait. There was still plenty of time until he returned from his trip. I left the house and spent the day aimlessly until the evening, then savored my time alone in my empty house. I may have been scolded by Scott for lazing around, but now those days of tension seemed unreal. I even abandoned housework the next day, ordered delivery, and spent my time however I liked. On Sunday night, Scott finally came home. "Welcome home. You're late, aren't you?" Scott's eyes widened at the sight of me lounging on the sofa.
Hey, what's going on?
"What do you mean, what's going on?"
Why are you still sitting on the sofa when I, your husband, have returned home? You're not even greeting me at the door. That's not right.
Noticing the delivery bag on the table, Scott's anger started to seep in.
Hey, what is this? Look at you living a high life while I'm not here.
I sighed at him and said, "And where were you staying this weekend, Scott? Weren't you enjoying yourself?"
If you knew, you wouldn't behave like this. Sounds like you want to see that again,
Scott said, rifling through a drawer.
Huh? It's not here.
Scott flew at me, spitting angrily.
Where did you hide the divorce papers?
They're not here anymore.
What?
Scott almost exploded at my response, but the next moment he started laughing sarcastically.
So that's how it is. I see.
What?
You threw away the divorce papers because you don't want to divorce me, thinking I wouldn't leave you, huh? You really are senseless. I feel bad. Your only mother couldn't even raise a kid right.
I really don't understand what you're saying.
So you want to play dumb, huh? Too bad. I can get as many divorce papers as I want from the city hall. I'll go get them right now.
I didn't say I threw them away.
Then why aren't they here?
They're not here because I've already submitted them.
What?
Didn't you hear me? I signed those divorce papers and submitted them to the city hall yesterday.
Wait, you submitted the divorce papers? Do you even understand what that means?
Of course, isn't it obvious? If you submit divorce papers, the divorce is finalized. Are you telling me you didn't know that, Scott? Scott's face turned beet red at my mockery.
Don't mess with me. You lived a comfortable life with my salary.
Comfortable? Who's saying that? I couldn't help but retort. Where is the comfort in a marriage with someone who constantly belittles and ridicules me? Someone who never shows gratitude no matter how much housework I do.
Belittle you? Of course a housewife like you is obviously below me, the breadwinner. If you want to give me an attitude like that, I'm done. Be all alone and realize your own foolishness. Get out right now.
Scott kicked me out, yelling and ranting. Expecting this, I had already packed my bags. It was a good decision. I picked up my suitcase and proudly left the house. On a whim, I rented a weekly apartment and spent the night there. The next morning, I looked at my phone and saw an overwhelming number of missed calls from Scott. Just then, he called me again. Oh, what's up?
Don't what's up me. Where are you now?
It's none of your business. We're not married anymore.
Stop messing around. The divorce papers you submitted on your own are invalid.
Didn't you sign them yourself?
I wasn't serious. You probably did it out of confusion too, right? After a night's rest, you should be cool-headed now. If you apologize, I'll forgive you. So come back.
I haven't done anything I should apologize for.
How dare you test me? Your husband. Well, I provided for you this whole time. If I dump you, you'll be alone again. Is that what you want?
I realized something. It's better to be alone than to be with someone who doesn't care about me. I could tell that Scott was shaking with anger on the other end of the phone. He raised his voice through the phone.
What? I've even compromised. Fine, I don't care about you anymore. You'll regret this.
I'm pretty sure you'll be the one to regret this.
You can't do anything, you're just a loser.
Scott hung up the phone in a fit of rage. I used to be so scared of his yelling, but now all I feel is contempt. He didn't contact me for several days, but a week later, I got a call on my cell phone from him.
Megan, what the hell is this bill?
Once I had confirmed Scott's affair, I had asked a lawyer to file for damages. It seems that he finally received the bill. Oh, did it arrive? It's written clearly on the bill.
Why do I have to pay damages? You're the one who left. I even said I was willing to start over, but you're the one who refused to come back because you're so stubborn.
Aren't you misunderstanding something? It's damages for your affair.
Affair? When and with whom did I have an affair?
With Lily, 25 years old. You've been seeing her for a year now.
How did you...
You left so much evidence on your computer. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? You really thought I was a fool, huh? Scott seemed to think I was bluffing. He retorted in a fury.
Evidence? You're lying. There was no such thing on the computer.
Yes, that's right. You're not so stupid as to leave texts and photos with your mistress on there.
Humph. As I knew you were bluffing. You can't fool me.
Why don't you see for yourself whether I'm bluffing or not? I sent Scott the evidence of his affair. Upon seeing it, his tone of voice suddenly became frantic.
How did you get this? I'm sure I deleted it.
Indeed, all the data had been deleted from the computer. But Scott completely forgot that I had graduated from a vocational school with a certification in IT. It took some time, but I was able to restore the deleted data, so I saved them. Realizing he couldn't wriggle out, Scott suddenly changed his attitude.
Look, Megan, you don't really want to do this, do you? Yes, I cheated on you with her, but it was just a fling. You're the only one I truly love. You can't live without me, can you?
I realized that it was just all in my head. Being with you, I was losing confidence in myself. Far from being protected, you were tearing my self-esteem to shreds.
You just have victim complex. In reality, if it weren't for my salary, you couldn't live, could you? Of course you'll receive some harsh words at times.
I can't stand the thought of you, who betrayed me, living your best life. I'll make you take responsibility for what you've done. That's what the charges are for. He finally sensed that I was determined and switched back to being verbally abusive.
Fine, I'll pay. I didn't know you were such a nasty woman. I felt sorry for you being alone, so I got together with you, but it was a big mistake.
Right back at you. You chose me because you thought you could control me, right? It was a big mistake that I didn't see it through at the beginning. You're probably with your mistress Lily because she's young and does what you want, right? Pay the damages quickly and go get with her.
You'll realize soon enough. You're destined for a lonely life.
Scott, although putting up a big front, transferred the agreed-upon amount of compensation to me, as required by my lawyer. However, a few days later, he contacted me again.
Megan, can you return some of the money to me?
What? I couldn't help but raise my voice. I've never heard of returning a compensation fee. Besides, even after paying the compensation and dividing our property, you should still have plenty of savings left, right?
Well, that's the thing. My savings are running low. That's why I've swallowed my pride to ask.
It seems that Scott, who had invited Lily to live with him, had given her his credit card for emergencies, but she started splurging on his card. Now that Lily had nearly depleted all of his savings with her spending, he was desperate enough to turn to me for help. Exasperated, I told him, I may have been stupid to not see through you and marry you, but you're equally foolish for not noticing your mistress's splurging habit until after you gave her your card.
I realize now that you're the only one for me, Megan. You must feel lonely being single too, right?
Gosh, will you grow up? Do you think I'm going to be single forever?
No, don't tell me. You found someone else?
No, and can you not compare yourself to others?
Well then, what is it? You don't have a family anymore, right?
With the money left by my parents, I've started a new business. Now I'm blessed with great colleagues, and I hardly have time to feel lonely.
You, with no special talents, starting a business?
Are you still saying that? Can't you admit it already? Your words are ruining the people around you.
Me? Ruining?
You look down on others until they lose confidence and spoil your mistress until she gets carried away. Unless you change your selfish behavior, neither you nor anyone around you will ever find happiness. With that, I firmly rejected Scott. After that, he never contacted me again. He probably realized he could no longer look down on me now that I was successfully running my own business. Rumor has it that Lily dumped Scott right after using up all of his savings. Scott, who could only see his partners as less than him or spoil them without being able to build a solid relationship, will likely have a hard time finding a lifelong companion. If anyone is destined for a lonely life, it's Scott, not me. With that thought in mind, I devoted myself to my work once again today.